Greetings, unsettled souls. This is Sam Di Gangi doing political commentary for the Media Speaks, and welcoming you all aboard. You might know me from Teddy Stick Blasting News, the Conservative Daily Post. As you guys trickle in, I want to remind you that you are listening to a listener-supported broadcast, and by that I mean all of the money that gets made, what pennies I make from the show, happens from you. When you donate at the correctviews@hotmail.com, you can do so through PayPal, and I put the money that I get towards a better show. And again, I think that's noticeable because for a while the show had a really nice camera, and now it doesn't. But I still have the facts. I still have the truth. I still have every single reason that you tune in. And one of the things that I can tell by the numbers that you enjoy, if enjoy applies, in sort of lack of a better word here, you guys like to be informed about Fukushima and the things that the media is not telling you regarding it. So that's what we're going to do for you. We're going to get into this really quick. Total tally for Fukushima decommissioning is $75 billion. Now, see, that, even that there, to me, you can't put a price on something that you haven't invented yet. They can't even get near the reactors to decommission. Robots, and we've covered this repeatedly on the show, robots also cannot get close enough to the area to decommission it. We don't know how much it's going to cost to invent what needs to be invented for us to get near there. We don't even know if we can. So the idea that we somehow know how much this is going to cost doesn't really apply when nuances like that are taken into account. Is anybody hearing me there? If you are, say, I'm hearing you, and the first 3 people to do it, give me your address, I'll send you a free CD from Passing Time, get you the new single. The decommissioning of the Fukushima nuclear power plant will cost an annual US $2 billion, that's 220 billion yen, until 2021. An unnamed source told the Japan Times, and this is from oilprice.com. It is working like an aggregate here, if you will. Half of the money will be used to tackle the radioactive water buildup at the site of the plant and for removing radioactive fuel from the fuel pools. The small amount of funds will be used to research ways of retreating melted fuel from the reactors that got damaged during the 2011 tsunami disaster. The $6 billion for the 3 years is only part of the total estimated cost for taking Fukushima out of operation. Now again, the fuel rod that they mention up here are oftentimes, and this is one of those times, they're placed very high, so that if an earthquake was to happen, they will fall, and it would create an extinction event that many pundits have said could very easily make it impossible to live on the entire northern hemisphere. Many people say, Sam, that's an alarmist point of view. Okay, what if it's only a third right? It's only a third of the northern hemisphere that can't be lived in. Do you feel that much better? Because I don't. The total decommissioning tally came in at 75 billion, that's 8 trillion yen. It was estimated by the specially set up nuclear damage compensation and decommissioning facilitation. That's 4 times more than the initial estimate of the costs around NPP's decommissioning, which is what we said at the time. And I'm saying it once again, so go ahead and mark it on your calendar, 5/14/4/10/2018. The correct views said that this is not going to stop and cap out at any $75 billion either. Of course, the operator of Fukushima, TEPCO, GE, who you should never invest in because they do not bring good things to life, they bring nuclear death. TEPCO and the NDF are due to submit their financial plan for the facility to the government for approval by the energy industry minister. In addition to the $6 billion allocated from the U.S. cleanup, the TEPCO will spend another $1.88 billion, that's 200 billion yen, on preparing to start extracting the melted fuel from the 3 damaged reactors, which again, we can't get near, so I don't know how they think they're going to do that. That's never been published, but I'm all ears. It seems to be the biggest challenge for the cleanup efforts because of the still high radiation levels as well as technical difficulties. Now, what you need to understand here is that a lot of people, and I've been getting this on my comments a lot of people are suggesting that the same solution is given which was used in Russia for Chernobyl. That won't work on an island, particularly an island as porous as Japan. We're talking vast differences in the ground, the makeup of the ground between Russia and Japan. So before you leave that comment, don't, because it makes you look doltish. Moving on, the LA Times. Earthquake that rattled LA was the most powerful in years. Now, I'm not going to get into it. I wrote a lot about it on the Conservative Daily Post. You can find it very easily by typing in my name, Sam Di Gangi, D-I-G-A-N-G-I, and go to the Conservative Daily Post and look up what I've written recently about earthquakes. We'll get to it quickly. A magnitude 5.3 earthquake rattled Southern California on Thursday and was the strongest in the area in several years. There were no immediate reports of damage. The quake was felt across a wide area, and the blunt reminder that California is earthquake country. Now, most of you have heard about the earthquake by now. I'm not going to go into it more, but I want to point to the bigger issue that it's talking about here. First of all, there's a couple points here that you do not want to miss. First of all, the very same scientists who were ignored when this was predicted for Japan are the very same scientists, of course, who are being ignored now. They said the plants on California are in jeopardy, that it's very grim, that the earthquake, not just a tsunami, we know that the earthquake alone took out one of the 4 reactors at Fukushima. Now we're hearing that a quake big enough to create a tidal wave could be hitting Japan. And all of this shows that the predictions, which have been ignored by the nuclear power industry and were said never to happen, are in fact happening now in the same time scale. It's important because we'll get to this in a minute. These same minds are predicting that Iran is building a nuclear power plant on an active fault zone. This matters substantially, because even if Iran was a threat to no one at all, the fact that they're building it on an active fault zone is going to kill more in the region than all of the Jews could in their wildest dreams against the wiles of Islam, I assure you. All right, friends, listen to this. Terrifying interactive map reveals what would happen if a nuclear bomb were dropped on your hometown. It's from the Daily Mail. It's shared here at Prison Planet. Well, it says the initial blast would wipe off everything in the immediate path, but just how far the effects would reach might surprise you. And of course, there is a new interactive map here. So let's do it. Well, I'm in Canton, Ohio. Let's go ahead and type in Canton, Ohio. If you were to set off a nuclear bomb, God forbid, in Canton, Ohio, here's what you would be looking at. Hills and Dales is a pretty good distance from me. Perry Heights is halfway to Massillon. Almost 40,000 people would die, friends. 38,868. The injuries would be 44,497. And God only knows how many people would die of the fallout and the cancers which would happen within a number of years from when the fallout got into the water supply. And there it is, right in front of you. You can go ahead and put in your own city and see what it would be. You can see how terrifying it would be if it would happen to LA, if it would happen to New York City. You'll be able to plug the numbers in and see exactly what could happen. And friends, you can't downplay that. The importance of it is so severe and so dire and so possible. We already know today that Russia is saying that Assad did not provoke the chemical weapons attack, did not endorse it, did not do it. Donald Trump says that they did, which is one of the areas that I question Trump on, even though I have been, as you know, a supporter of the man, and I think he's done a good job so far. I do find a substantial problem there. We know that Russia has been buzzing our ships as recently as a couple of days ago as we go to the region to address the problem, which maybe we should not. But that brings us anyhow to the dumbdee of the day, and it's a double dunce going here to Iran as we get our dumbdee music. There you go. Oh yes, the "You Are an Idiot" music plays here for Iran. Listen to this dumbass who's building a nuclear power plant on a known fault zone. Iran's Rouhani says the U.S. will regret it if it violates the nuke deal. Now, in order for a deal to be a deal, it implies that a handshake and an agreement or a written contract or whatever you will has been established that says both sides have to keep the agreement in order for it to be a deal. Iran has repeatedly broken their promise. So the deal is null and void. It's nothing Trump is doing. It's something that Obama should have done. Furthermore, people will say, well, America has nukes. Israel has nukes. Well, Israel does not have people marching in the streets while their leader speaks, chanting death to Iran. America has nuclear power plants. They should not. America has nuclear weapons. They should not. But just the same, we don't have people here chanting death to Iran while the president is speaking and smiling upon the offensive chanting. So don't tell me that there is no difference, because I will tell you that you're a flippin' idiot if you do. Tehran, Iranian President Hassan Rouhani said on Monday, as Yahoo refreshes because it sucks my Iranian President Hassan Rouhani said Monday that the United States would regret withdrawing from the nuke deal. We regret getting in it, jerk. And the Iran would respond in less than a week. If that happens, we will not. We will not be the first to violate the accord. They already have. But they should definitely know that they will regret it if they violate it. Rouhani told the National Nuclear Technology Day in Tehran. And we are much more prepared than they think, he said at the conference. And they will see that if they violate this accord within a week, less than a week, they will see the result, he said. He dismissed the threat that Trump will walk away from the nuke deal and reimpose sanctions on May 12th unless new restrictions are imposed, and said it's been 15 months since this gentleman, meaning Trump, who came into power in America, has been making claims, and there has been many ups and downs, remarks in his behavior. But the foundation of the nuclear deal has been strong during these 15 months of pressure, and the structure has remained solid. Even if one day the U.S. can harm JCPOA, the agreement, we will be the winner in public opinion of the world as the nation is struck by commitments. Now, the one thing where anybody's really struck by here is struck by their stupidity, because you would have to be the stupidest nation in the world, full of the stupidest people ever, which in some ways could be U.S. society, to believe that the deal as it's set up makes any sense. We can't even go and look to see what they're doing in terms of keeping the deal, because it takes so long for us to let them know that we're coming before we are allowed to enter. Any inspectors, not just American. That they could be building a nuclear bomb. They could be cloning Mickey Mouse in there for all we know, and we would not know anything about it by the time we looked. There would be nothing but a small nuclear signature, which they would claim was merely a coincidence of some kind. So the deal as it stands is simply a loaded gun pointed at the head of everyone in the West. Make no mistake about it, as we get to the last article here on the massive Fukushima update. Washington Free Beacon playing into the dumbdee of the day here. Even further, the double dumbdee. Iran threatens to restart nuke enrichment program in a matter of days. Threats confirm that the Iranian regime never gave up on its atomic weapons ambitions. Now you see why there's a double. Can you read what I highlighted? Come on, now you can read. Has never given up atomic weapons assumptions. But wait a minute, Sam. Didn't they just say that they never broke the deal, that they didn't break the accord, that it was evil Mr. Trump that was going to do it? Well, according to the Free Beacon, that's not the way it was. Dated April 9th, yesterday, you can't say I'm giving you old news, Iranian leaders are threatening to restart the country's contested nuclear enrichment program in just a matter of days as the Trump administration and the European Union allies scrambled to address a range of flaws, you could say that, in the landmark nuclear deal ahead of May deadline. Of course, we talked about what that May deadline was. Ali Akbar Shalehi, head of Iran's atomic work, claimed Iran could enrich uranium to 20%, which is more than enough to quickly reach the threshold to power a nuclear weapon in just 4 days if the word is given by Iran's hardline ruling regime. Now, some people would say, well, Sam, that couldn't happen if Mr. Trump would not go back on the deal. You're an idiot. They have already said that they plan on using this against the Jews and other enemies, even other Islamists. It's no secret that the idiot George W. Bush, by proxy, created Persia again by uniting Iran and Iraq through the stupid Iraq war. So if this was to come to fruition, we cannot check the status of their nuclear weapons development in the time that we are given. Definitely not 4 days. So they've just admitted, are you paying attention? Who's hearing me? They just admitted by their own words that they have lied. The disclosure has roiled Trump administration insiders and nuclear experts who have been warning for months that Iran never fully disclosed the nature of its nuclear weapons work and the progress as international leaders struggle to fix the deal by May. Its senior Islamic Republic officials issue an order to resume the 20% enrichment. We can do it in the Fordo, which is the nuclear facility, within 4 days, said Salehi. Iran can even show more extensive progress in other parts of its nuclear activities to go beyond the previous levels. Now, does that sound to you like a nation that's been working on keeping its promise? Or does that sound to you like a nation that's been working on nuclear weaponry the entire time that they said that they had not? This is exactly what President Trump means when he says that the Iran deal is the worst agreement ever negotiated, said one Republican. The entire plan it merely hit the pause button temporarily on the aspects of Iran's nuclear program that it had already perfected. And Salehi's threats underscores that this could be easily restarted and space to develop technologies that it hadn't perfected, such as advanced centrifuges and missiles, said Dubovitz, Mark Dubovitz, a nuclear expert. The Obama administration gave away the store, literally sending Iran billions and billions of dollars, sometimes in pure capital, gold, and cash, my listeners. Literally gold bars and cash. But the deal left Iran with the ability to reverse their concessions in just a couple of days. So friends, if there is any doubt as to why Mr. Trump is acting the way he is and why there is this push to limit what Iran can do, I hope I have explained it to you in ways that make perfect sense to you. Now do me a favor. Make perfect sense to me, share this video. Let others know what I've shown you. Support the show. I make almost nothing. Look at my camera. It sucks. If you would like to fund this show so that you can at least hear me through a camera that doesn't suck, you can do so at the correct views at hotmail.com. Donate through PayPal. I show receipts. I'll be happy to show you the camera that I purchased with the money that you donate. Good night, friends. God bless and thank you. Remember, do not invest in any mutual funds that benefit nuclear power facilities. So, DuPont, Westinghouse, General Electric, do your research, friends. Good night. God bless.